On technology. Roll. There it Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Come on in. It is Sunday night, special edition, a special DYP edition of our process and conversation of I'm Saved and Struggling. Tonight, it's a special edition. It's the couples edition tonight. And as you can see, first and foremost, I got somebody hanging out with me tonight. The queen is in the room tonight. And I'm just prayerful she'll be on her best behavior. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just prayerful. Y'all see she already saying no. So it's about to be a mess. Come on in. Take a moment to say hello to us. Greet us as you are coming in. We would certainly appreciate that. And as you are doing that, please take a moment to tag and share with others because tonight, I promise you, is not only going to be informative, it's not only going to be encouraging. We're going to have a little comedy tonight, but I believe it's also going to really minister to the hearts and minds of not only our couples, but those who are thinking about getting married, praying about getting married, and some of y'all who, still on the sidelines and need a little push. So definitely jump on in tonight. We are not going to be long. We're going to try to keep it at 1 hour tonight. So by all means, definitely want you to jump in with us and let's get the conversation going. I am so grateful tonight. We are so grateful to have some friends of ours from across the country that are connecting with us tonight, as close as around the corner and as far away as across the country. And I'm so grateful that they consented to join with us tonight to just have this conversation of some of the lessons we have learned from our time of two walking together as one. So by all means, I want you guys to jump in, invite others to jump in with us tonight. Baby, you want to say hello to the people before I turn your friends loose? You sure? And because it's on now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Everyone.
It's on. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hello.
It's on. It's on. So by all means, jump in with us tonight. Listen, throughout the course of this conversation, this is now the fourth installment of this conversation. We have talked about so many different issues as it relates to dealing with struggles and understanding that, as it was shared in the last session, the fact that we are struggling simply gives an indication that there's still some life there. The fact that we're struggling simply says that there's still some hope, there's still some possibilities. And my whole hope and prayer throughout this course of conversations has and continues to be that we will focus more on what's living, that we will strengthen that which remains, that we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about what's falling apart, but taking what we have and strengthening it and keeping it stronger. So I'm excited tonight that we're going to take this direction and we're going to take this conversation. Do know tonight, if you miss it tonight, it will be rebroadcasted on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So by all means, if you miss a piece, you can jump back in and you can catch it on Thursday night. Let me also continue to say that tonight, this conversation is a means of inspiration as well as information. We do not profess to be professionals, but we've learned some lessons the hard way through the course of marriage. But I'm pleased to tell you that out of this process, this whole journey of being saved and struggling, is that we have compiled a list of resources. We have compiled a list of therapists across the country who have availed themselves to offer any assistance to anyone should they so desire. And I'm excited tonight because you're going to meet tonight one of those therapists that is actually on the list. So I'm really excited to have her connecting with us on tonight. So look, let me stop talking and let me bring the whole crew in tonight because it's about to be on. It's about to be on and popping. Let's get the crew. Come on, people. Let's get this right. Let's say, there you go. Hey, everybody.
Hey,
what's up? What's going on, y'all?
Everybody, so glad to have you guys connecting with us. And again, thank you so much for taking this hour with us tonight to hang out. I am so grateful all the way from East St. Louis, Illinois. I'm going to get this one right tonight. East St. Louis, Illinois. My friend, my big brother, the Reverend Robert and Miss Mika Collier. So glad to have them with us on tonight. And then in my hometown, I'm talking about the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. Team DeWitt is in the house tonight. So glad to have you guys hanging out with us. And of course, right around the corner, almost in walking distance. Y'all baking tonight? Y'all got a cake going?
Not tonight.
I got some cornbread.
He made cornbread. No, hey.
Cornbread and ice cream ain't gonna work, bro. I'm sorry, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. All right here in the city of Rocky Mount with us tonight, I have doctors Tevis and Janae Harris. So glad to have them hanging out. And of course, I definitely want to give a special shout out to Dr. Janae. She is one of our therapists that is on the list. And I need to tell y'all, be on the lookout real soon. Coming real soon as a part of this conversation. There is going to be a therapist conversation. I've got about 4 therapists that are going to connect with us, and we're going to talk about it from a professional point of view. So it's going to be off the chain. It's going to be truly off the chain. Tevis Petaway said cornbread will work. They can make that work. All I'm going to tell y'all, God bless your toe up stomachs when y'all get done.
That part.
Hey, you remember on the movie Life, they said you don't want your cornbread.
It's gonna be some consequences and repercussions, y'all.
That's my cornbread. Won't do that.
Listen, I don't know what kind of cornbread y'all been eating that's hurting y'all stomach. What y'all eating?
Well, I'm gonna tell you right. You better watch. Say it again, Kai.
Jiffy.
That's it right there. That's it right there.
No.
That Jiffy have you junkie. That's all I'm gonna tell you. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Hey, watch it. I'm from the north. We grew up with Jiffy.
So and see y'all put that extra sugar in it on top of that. See, so well, you know what? Doing that's close enough. That's close enough, Kate. That's close enough.
Yeah.
So look. Tonight our conversation is marriage.
Yeah.
And I think all of us will agree that we have seen so much as it relates to the marriage relationship. Divorce rates are simply off the charts. We're finding situations where, on the average, people are not even staying married 5 years, and it's almost frightening. And I think it's one of the reasons why is because we don't talk enough about knowing how to deal with struggle, knowing how to fight and win. To have disagreements and actually walk through them and come out. So tonight we're going to talk about that. But let me take a minute to allow you guys, first of all, to just introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. Tell us how long you've been married, and by all means, tell us how you guys met. That's going to be really important. All right, that's going to be real fun.
It's going to be more than an hour.
Hold up. No, did you
we'll
see
give you a short version.
Oh, this is gonna be good. This one's gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, like,
them
don't
Harrises
tell
and them
nobody.
DeWitts, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Let's see. I think of the 4 of us, I think Kaya, you're the one that's been married the shortest. Yeah, and the DeWitts have been married the longest. I think I have, and we somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
We the middle children. We don't get no, we don't get
nothing,
Dan Brady.
Yeah, that's it. We get the cornbread. That's what happened. We get the cornbread.
Jiffy.
Yeah, we get the Jiffy.
And the pot
and
liquor.
don't even have extra sugar.
You get the cornbread and the pot liquor.
Yeah. So Kaya, you and Mika, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Tell us about yourselves.
Robert and Mika Collier, we're from I'm from originally from East St. Louis, Illinois. She is from Columbus, Ohio. Believe it or not, we actually met. I always tell people we met in a psych pod. I'm by trade. I'm a supervisor for a local hospital, and she was working in the registration department. And we had just got through wrestling with a patient that was hyped up on some drugs, and I knew she wasn't going to be able to get in the room to get the information she needed. But I used to do the job she did, so I got the information. Pretty much we became friends, and I think about a year later we started dating. We got married November of 2020.
Yeah,
so y'all coming up on 2 years, guys. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Me, so
Yeah,
that was pretty much what happened.
I was a stalker. My name's Bob. I'll be your stalker.
So you've gone from Bob the Builder to Bob the Stalker now.
Yeah.
I got you, bro. I got you. I ain't even mad.
We wanted to be stalked.
That's all. I was about to say, I mean, I'm trying not to be scriptural, but hey,
Hey man, I had to walk up to her, like, excuse me, Miss Purdy. I'm fat. I mean,
not Miss Purdy. Lord.
So Sherman wasn't the only one with a Miss Pretty. See, you got to tell on yourself, Doc.
This
You
was
better
Miss
tell on
Purdy.
yourself.
Yes.
Harris's.
One night stand.
That's why it was muted, and you couldn't hear what he said.
See, that's why that green screen keep fading out right there.
It was muted. Let me say this over. So, Janae, this is Tevis, and we have been married for 6 years now. We always have known each other growing up. Our families are friends, and so we just knew each other growing up. And we've been friends for a long time. And we tried to date before Tevis didn't have his life together.
Oh.
So I was like, come on back. We went our separate ways. And then about 2014, and he was like, hey, I know you want to date. I know you want to do your thing, but I just need to tell you that I love you. So then we just started dating. So and here we go.
That's how she remembers it going.
That's the story. Move on to the next couple.
I told you how we met.
Move on to the next couple.
That's the story. We sticking to it.
I mean, really. Well, if that's the story, that 3-word comment sucked you right in, didn't it? I mean, it just
No.
Get over here.
Right. All right. Now, Tevis, give us the true Hollywood story.
Well, what ended up happening was Janae was chasing after me. And so listen, check this out. So in school, I was in college, okay? And I happened to be a substitute teacher. While she was in school, I was actually her substitute teacher. And so, like she said, wait, everything. I was her substitute teacher. No. And so for years, our families, like she said, were friends. Her dad's brothers hung out with my uncles, and they would always be at my grandma's house. And so for years, I knew she had a crush on me, right? But she was trying to date other boys. But then one time she was dating this guy who was treating her wrong, and I told her how to handle him, and then she fell in love instantly.
Move on to the next couple.
She fell in love. Couldn't stop her from calling me. And we did break up for a little while.
Federway said, "This the true tea. Lord help us. Here come the true tea."
We here now.
Who needs Gary? Like, nah, that ain't the one right there. And then check this out. So we ended up going on this trip to King's Dominion. And you had to have a partner at King's Dominion. But guess who was her partner?
He was my partner.
And so we partners, and so we walk around there. She talking, we like Kiki. She was,
and here we are. Married.
Now see, Dr. J, the therapist is coming out of you now because now you said, okay, cut this, let's go, move on. So actually, Dr. J, you were the one that got the letter. Will you go out with me? Check yes, no, or maybe.
Yeah, yes, no. We did a couple of those letters throughout the years. Yeah. So we might as well just make this official.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And you guys have been married how long, Tevis and Janae?
6 years.
6 years. Cool.
Well, I guess it'll be 6 years this year.
Yeah, it'll be 6 years this year.
Yeah.
We made it. We made it past the 5-year mark.
Hang in there. Remember now. The light ain't come on yet. Hold on. The light ain't come on yet. Come on yet. Teddy P said turn them off. Turn them off.
Yeah.
Turn them off.
Turn them off.
Yeah, that's it.
5 years, all good.
Yeah, King DeWitt in the Queen City.
Yes.
Yes.
What's going on, fam? What's going on?
Well, short version.
No. Here come the real tea now. Here come the real tea.
But the thing is, we've been together for 30 years, married for 27. And the first day I met my wife, I told her she was my wife.
Come on, sir.
The first thing out of my mouth to her.
The first thing to me, didn't even know my name. He said, my back was turned actually. And he said, whoever them is with them bow legs is my wife.
Oh, wow.
Name it and claim it, grab it, nab it, and grab it.
I turned around. I said, ninja.
If you believe it, you can receive it.
Amen.
Not here, not today.
See, y'all
I
got to
gave
have
them
full
all
quickly
the
at home
attitude.
tonight.
Do you hear me? I was like, listen, country boy.
He spoke it into existence. He had a dream board, a vision board.
And that's how we met. We met at his cousin's house. My cousin was dating his cousin. And I came over to play some cards.
Okay.
We was at a different part of life.
The devil's game. You were playing the devil's game, were you?
It was phase, wasn't it?
It was fast.
It was Spades. I know it was Spades. I know it was the game was Spades. I know it was. I know the game was Spades. You don't even got to tell me. I already know.
But that is the story in a nutshell. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I guess you better tell. You want to tell how we met?
I let him tell a story because he always tell me I'm wrong, even though I know I'm right.
I'm gonna give you a chance.
Go ahead,
Tell the story. Well, we've been.
Sound so good.
This December makes 16 years for us. We've been together 16 years. Truth be told, this is the truth. I actually met her doing ministry. That's how I met her. I was asked to pinch hit for a friend of mine in Paulsboro, New Jersey, Pastor Witt, Paulsboro, and was asked to go. And basically, unbeknownst to me, he called her and told her, I got a friend of mine coming to New Jersey to preach. I need you to take care of him. And basically, long story short.
Not like that now.
Anyway, long story.
Wait a minute.
See, this is what I live
like
with.
Janae, this about to go wrong.
See, this is what I live with. But am I lying? Am I lying though? He asked. Well, I mean, take care of me, look out for me, and then each one, potato. Long story.
Let me get my face.
Long story short, that was, let's see, this past May made 17 years. We met 17 years ago. And in December of this year, we'll celebrate 16 years. And so shall we say the rest is history. So if I do the math tonight between the four of us, there are 51 years of marriage on this feed tonight, which I know, no matter how long we've been together, there is a wealth of knowledge that I believe we're going to impart. Basically, I just want to ask a few questions, and we're just going to talk a little bit tonight with hopes of helping somebody. The first question that I really want to deal with is the meat of our conversation. All of us are saved. We have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and we can unashamedly say that and admit that. We have no problem with that. But just because we're saved doesn't mean we have not had any problems or issues in our marriage, which is one of the biggest, shall I say, lies that really needs to be revealed as it relates to marriage. Just because you are saved don't mean you won't have arguments, you won't have fights, you won't have disagreements, you won't have struggles. But tonight, I just want to talk a little bit about that with hopes of encouragement. In our collected 51 years, and probably 51 plus, because, Tevis, was Janae's substitute teacher, so we don't know how long ago that was.
He was not, y'all. That story is so convoluted. Oh my god!
So we don't know how long ago that took place.
No,
but
it goes back 7 years.
Wait a minute, hold up, Janae.
Go ahead, Pastor.
Was it? But the question is, was it Sunday school or public school? There is a difference.
No, it's a long, complicated story. Just go ahead.
Okay. That sounds like another episode. Okay, I got you.
The Ricky Smiley Morning Show, Gary with the team.
2.0.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
coming.
see.
Right. 2.0. Here you go. So here's my question. Here's my question for us tonight to help those who are beginning in marriage, those who've been in marriage, those thinking about getting married. My first question is, what has our struggles taught us about our marriage relationship? Because really, in a real sense, if we don't learn a lesson from what we've gone through, then really we've missed the whole point of what we've been through. And I think that's important in today's day and time, being saved and struggling. What are some of the struggles we've encountered in our marriage relationships that we can say we learned a valuable lesson that made us stronger in our relationships? Rob, you and Mika, you guys have been at this for a minute. So you know, what are struggles? What struggle has really made you guys stronger as a unit?
I think one of the biggest things with us is that she came as the time that my ministry starting to open up and starting to expand. And I think my expectation was that she knew what she was getting into, because the time we started dating, I was up for a church. So it was like, you knew that this is what I was up for. And she was okay with it, but then all of a sudden stuff started to creep up that she was kind of not cool. You know, she had her own trepidations and those, you know, consternations about certain things. And I'm like, you knew what you was getting into if you didn't want to do it. And that's what I insensibly, that's because you gotta realize I've been pushing ministry for over 20 years. I was 18 when I got in this. So this is pretty much my whole life. So I make the mistake of looking at it as if you're not on board with this directly, you're not accepting me.
That's good.
And I had to be, and I'm the Lord actually was funny. It's just revealed that to me while I was sitting here. You know, that's the objective part about it. I actually was looking at it, and I have to realize that that's it. Just as much as I'm on Front Street, I'm out there and I'm doing my thing. She is too. Yeah. And I had to be mindful of that.
That's big. That's big.
Come on, DeWitt. Talk to us.
Yeah, that's big. And I definitely like how God revealed it to you even now. And that speaks, right? Because even as you're in it and you're struggling, you'll get those revelations and God will drop that knowledge in your spirit. Well, one of the things for us, like one of the biggest struggles for us is, and this really goes along with what you were saying, your expectation versus the reality of what you have.
Oh, that's good.
A lot of times, yeah. And a lot of times we'll put our expectations on our spouse and we'll start giving these invisible tests that they supposed to pass. And they don't even know they taking the test. Ain't got a number 2 pencil, ain't no paper. Yeah. I'm supposed to
don't even know how to fill in the bubble.
Right. So for us, that was one of the biggest struggles. Like, this is how you're supposed to act in my mind. I'm not even communicating it.
Yeah.
But in my mind, you're supposed to respond this way. And I think he would say the same thing.
Pretty much the same thing. We adapt certain sayings when we get in certain situations. And one of the sayings that we say is, we don't lose, we learn.
That's it.
When we get in a situation where other people may take it as a loss, we look at it and say, what can we learn from this situation that it won't happen again?
And it really started around our 5th, 6-year marriage.
5th, 6-year marriage. You wait till you get to that 10th year mark. But I can say we have never separated. We have never been apart. And one of the key things to that was, I'm going to tell you what's hard, but what I work is not being mad at the same time. When she gets mad, I get silly. You know what I mean?
I hate it.
And when she gets,
God knows I do. I can't stand it.
That's right. Because
I stay mad longer.
If you mad at the same time,
nobody hearing me.
Somebody got to have a cooler head. One more thing, and then I'll move on. Because see, the world teaches you fight fire with fire. You don't fight fire with water. No fireman shows up to a fire with a fire hose.
Absolutely.
They show up with a water hose.
Now, fire can contain fire, but you can't move with it.
Now, DeWitt, you know they missed that. You know they missed that. You know they missed
it.
I know.
I
declare the preach, but I declare they missed it.
I caught it.
You caught it.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying, don't just don't fall back now. You can You know, you can be angry. You can bring it.
You can contain it.
But you can't win with it.
Absolutely.
You're gonna take a different approach. And
sometimes you gotta step back and take that different approach.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, it's amazing because when you guys say that, I think about something we say all the time, that we're on the same book in the same chapter, sometimes in the same page, but on a different paragraph.
Right. I like that.
That basically, truth be told, we're almost saying the same thing, but we're so caught up in our emotions that we're not hearing each other. You know, and sometimes, you know, one of the biggest things that I think marriages need to realize is there is more to there is more than an emotional piece to marriage.
Right.
You know, if everything is built on emotion, you're gonna have struggle paying them bills. You know, if everything is built on emotion, you know, when the children come in and all of those sort of situations come in, you're gonna struggle. You really are going to struggle.
And when you talk about emotions, it's feelings, right?
Yeah.
If I base everything on feelings, I could love you today and hate you tomorrow.
Yeah. Come on.
You know what I mean? So I have to stand on the fact of I'm his wife.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
no matter how I'm feeling, the fact is I'm Mrs. DeWitt.
That's it.
Period. Period. And there are some things that there's some things that you can say and y'all fall out over that somebody else tried and they'll get cut.
You better not try.
Period. Oh, Peter, where are
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now.
You guys have said some incredible things, and especially in terms of the emotional piece. I love that, man. Like understanding how the emotions work and understanding. Now, one of the things that I do in whenever we have a struggle is I don't talk about it right then. You know, if Janae's upset, y'all get silly, but I'm an Enneagram 7, so I don't like negative conversations. I don't like negativity. So because I don't know how to handle emotions well, right? I don't know how to deal with them well. Some people consider me an emotionless person, because I'm just, it is what it is. There's no sugarcoating about it. But so I retreat from it. I let the fire burn. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn.
Come on, Urshan. Come on, Urshan.
I let the fire burn because soon enough it's gonna go out, right?
Come on.
And all we have is the love that we have. All we have left is the love that we have. But one of the things that I really have learned is that we can grow together, right? We can grow together. If we're committed to this thing, we can grow together. Now, I'm a little pissed off at older generations because they didn't let us see the authenticity of marriage, right? Yeah. So, they always hid things from us. So one of the things that we've learned through our struggle, and we learned it quite early, is to allow our children to see us handle things healthily, handle arguments, handle them healthily, because
speaking of kids,
healthily, right? And because one of the things we see now is that kids and even grown-ups don't know how to healthily talk through their emotions, talk through the struggles, talk through the situations. And so that's one of the things that I think we learned early on. Janae may have something else.
I would just add, sometimes like you aren't fighting each other, you're fighting like your history, you're fighting your childhood stuff. And so like sometimes our responses are not even I'm mad at you or you're mad at me. It's like whatever I said triggers something in you, whatever you did. And until we can talk about those things, and I think that's a struggle, like learning how to talk about, like, for real, when you said this, I know it didn't mean anything to you, but I remember hearing this growing up. And one of the things that Tevis had to say to me was like, you can't talk to me any kind of way. Like, I don't like when people yell at me. I don't like when people like say all kinds of stuff, and you cannot talk to me that way. And so I think I've tried to learn, and I hope that we are trying to learn how to be sensitive to that in each other. Like, that, hey, it may not even be you that's acting up right now. It's like whatever happened back then.
It's trauma.
Coming up.
It's trauma.
Like, and that's a struggle. Like that's
really that's another struggle.
Kids in the mix. This is like, ooh, child.
But it's amazing you guys bring that up, because you bring me back to something that we encountered. I mean, just days after our wedding. I mean, like 3-4 days after our wedding, one of the major struggles. And when you brought that up about sometimes we're not fighting each other. It's the emotional baggage from previous relationships, the hurts from previous relationships that many times we say we're healed, but we're not over it. You know, just because we've got a scar doesn't mean we don't have a wound.
Come on.
And sometimes we got to learn how to treat the wound in order to fully heal. I mean, just 3 days after we got married, we had a major blow up over something that was totally my fault. It was totally mine.
Yeah.
But, you know, my thing was, you know, I let her have it. I mean, and we can laugh about it now. It was over DirecTV, you know, because my philosophy has always been in our time of marriage, when it comes to finances, you can do whatever you want to do as long as the lights in the DirecTV stays on. Anything else, you good, you whatever. Well, sure enough, 3 days the DirecTV had gone off. She had only been in the house, about a week?
A week.
You know, she had only been in the house for about a week. But
I was moving from Philadelphia to Charlotte.
So here I am, I'm going off. I mean, blasting, yelling, screaming, you know, why did you do this? I can't deal with this. I can't hang with this. And come to find out it was my fault. I was the one that was supposed to fix it. Of course, I felt like about 2 inches tall after it was all said and done. But she said something to me that day that 16 years ago changed my life. She said to me, when are you going to stop punishing me for everything that everybody else did to you? And sometimes in marriage, what we've got to do, and I think sometimes this is good for folks just getting started, you can't rush into a relationship if you haven't been fully healed from a previous one.
Come on.
You jump out there too quick, and you're still dealing with the hurts and the baggage and the wounds, and you haven't dealt with that stuff yet. And then you jump into another relationship, you know, jumping from one bed to another, and you still aren't healed from what you just came from. You know, looking for love in all the wrong places. We got to call it for what it is. And when we move too quick, we get hurt and we wonder why nobody loves me, nobody cares, nobody understands. It's because we don't take time to heal before we move to that next place.
Yeah. I truly believe you got to bring your whole self, your whole authentic self.
Yes.
Because see, when you dating, your pretty self.
Oh yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
And then after you say I do, all of a sudden I got the whole you now.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And what I like to, when I'm talking to people that are considering marriages, what I tell them is 50% of each of you is going to make 100% of a mess.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Not
That's
a
it.
marriage, 100% of a mess. So make sure you ain't got to be 100% perfect. You ain't got to be 100% healed. Because we like to say all the time, sometimes he the 80, I'm the 20. That's where I'm at the moment. At the moment.
Right.
Sometimes I'm the 90 and he's the 10. The goal of the marriage is to be 100 together.
That's it. That's it.
We got this misconception out there in the world of this 50-50 mess. I can't.
Never 50-50. If you can get a 50-50, that's good. Never 50-50.
Never.
Hardly ever. You know what I mean? That's like you know, it's just
the key thing is we talk about baggage, but I told my wife a long time because we're getting married. We got married, I would think it was right before my 40th birthday. And she's 3 years younger than I am. But the reality of it is we can't live that long without stuff, without issues. Yeah. We moved in with baggage. I moved in with boxes. We moved in together. But the one thing I've learned over the last 2 years is that I also need to take inventory. I took inventory of what was in the boxes and the bags, but I forgot to take inventory of what was in my pocket.
Come on, sir.
You know, I forgot to take inventory of what was in my pocket. You know how you go find paper you didn't know was in there?
Right.
You find one
That's stuff you hold close. I love that analogy because that's stuff you hold close to the vest.
That's it.
There.
But the thing is, you also forget that it was in there. So, and then, so when you go in and you go hit a situation and you start thinking, where did this come from? You was carrying the whole time. You just didn't realize it was an issue and needed to be dealt with until now.
And you know, Rob, we were talking about this morning too, where we think about some of that stuff we have hidden.
Yeah.
That nobody knows but us, and we sometimes even hide it from ourselves.
I was about to say, sometimes you so good you hide it from yourself.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know. Like I told you with this grief, this morning we were talking. My cousin passed away the 4th of July. Was the last time I saw him. He died 5 years later. 5 days later. This was we called each other brothers. That was like we almost grew up together, and he died at 16. I had been okay with his death. Enjoyed the 4th of July. I enjoyed it all. But it was just something about it dawned on me. I didn't realize until after I'd blew up on my wife and had all these other issues that was the first time I sat in the church he used to belong to since he died, and watching that young man play the bass that he normally played sent me somewhere that I didn't even realize I was having these issues.
Mm-hmm.
My wife saw the onset of them, but I didn't realize I was having them. So it wasn't that I intentionally, I didn't know I had the scars. I thought I had come to terms with his death because I've been, been moving on since then.
Yeah.
But grief just popped and smacked me back in the back of the head. Just saying.
I was just going to say, too.
Go ahead, Doc.
I was just going to say one thing I noticed. I'm not sure about Shannon and DeWitt, but in some ways, all of us have a ministry theme through our marriage.
Yeah.
I think when you're in ministry, you are taught how to hide things really, really well. And especially the person who was the forefront of the ministry. So the spouse person who was the forefront of the ministry gets to see all the parts that other people do not see. And I remember one of my struggles was, I want the Tevis that's on stage. Like, don't give me the one to come in and sit quiet and talk to nobody. I want the one that's
at the church, giving out hugs and smiles.
Give me that person. And that's not the person I got the real person. I think that's so hard when you are with somebody who is in ministry in that way and they have to be on so much. You get the off version and you like, wow. You gotta come with that same energy, buddy. And I never get, like, one of our biggest arguments was he had it had been like a high service one day and people were crying and he was going around like hugging people and like, praying for them. And so I had a hard day one day and he was like, well, you just need to, you know how it tells you, tighten up, move on. I said, not Mr. Going around the altar, holding people when they cry. No. So I really had to understand how to balance my expectations and how to understand. And I know Team Worthy, like, and on Sunday, it's just a whole lot. And so I think like knowing who you are getting behind that person. Mark Green said yes. Like, Mark, you're a person that's on stage. I mean, Bonita's on stage too. And so just learning the person behind the scenes is so important.
Yeah.
That was one of our first fights for me. Because I'm like, you go to church, you talking to them people, you laughing, you come home, you quiet, you're not saying nothing. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with you because, I'm like, I'm one of those, what's wrong? You all right? Because he get this look on his face. And I say, I guess he's still in the holies of holies. I don't know. But I'm like, you got this look on your face. I'm like, why are you not seeing anything? And it took me a long while to realize, okay, there, you got to do it. And even at home, you want to do it, but sometimes you're just so exhausted and you're so tired and you need to decompress and you have to really, that's that quiet place at home. So it's
it's a place of peace. It's a peace. When I can get away from the noise, when I can get away from the expectations of the world.
That's right.
Yeah. As a black man, as a father, I can get away from the expectations of the world when I come home. Right. And so I had to explain it to her. I had to say, listen, this is who I have to be to get the coins, right? This is who I have to be to keep people off my back, right? But when I come home, I want this to be peaceful. I want this.
And again, that goes back to that 100% authenticity, right? Because no matter what you say, whether mass corporate Americans, because I'm still in corporate America, I don't know about anybody else, but I have to present myself a certain way. Right? Yeah. I shouldn't have to wear that mask at home.
When I get home.
No.
But that goes back also to what we were saying.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was like, and so, and for me, like, and people never believe this because we are in the front, but naturally, I'm an introvert. So
thank you.
A lot.
Thank you.
And most people in ministry are. People don't know
most
that.
Of us
like,
are.
We
exactly.
are literally, it's not something we seek after. That's why I'm always surprised. Like, oh, you want to preach? I understand.
What's wrong with you? Right.
Wow.
Right. It's amazing.
It goes against my very nature. It really
does.
So when I get in the house, I'm not full of like a lot of conversation because I want a blanket, I want it quiet, and I just want to see him.
And we are totally different people because right now you would think that I'm the introvert and she's the one, but it's not. I'm the people person.
Crazy.
I do all the communication. I do all the contacts, the talking with those I want to talk and communicate.
You know what? Now that's amazing because actually, when we first met, I actually picked up on that.
Yeah.
I actually picked up on that. You
I'm the one.
you are the outgoing one. I mean, really, when I look at you, I look at Tevis. Y'all are almost identical, really. But you are so
Hey, DeWitt, I need to get your phone number before we get out this conversation.
I mean, the reality
You
of it
have
is
mine, but I ain't gonna call you.
see, there it is. There it is. I mean, and many people don't realize. I think that's even with us. I mean, when it comes to ministry, it goes with the assignment.
Yes.
And that's a part of the assignment of ministry, to be able to engage, to be accessible, so that they can feel comfortable enough to touch me, so that I can minister to them.
Right.
But once that's over with, and I'm in the car on my way home, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm shutting down. I mean,
I don't like
really,
to talk outside of the car.
I
talk when I'm driving. When I get here, I don't want to be on. I don't want to talk to you. Don't text me. Don't call me. No, I'm serious. My parents will tell you, like, literally, if I don't talk to you while I'm driving home,
okay,
I literally she'll laugh at me and get in the house. You need to call and check on them. No, I don't. They'll be all right. Because like you also talk about being on my livelihood. I'm a supervisor at a top hospital in the nation. So when I'm on all the time, I'm on at church,
Right.
I'm on at work. I'm leading somebody somewhere all the time.
All
so when
the
I come
time.
home,
Same.
that's why she always says that you're a lieutenant at work, but she the colonel at home. And believe it or not, I'm okay with that. I fight back and joke with her, but the reality is I'm okay with it. I'd rather somebody take that
responsibility.
Absolutely. I mean, after you have done what you're supposed to do, you know, I'm looking, and I think, Pastor Shannon, you said it right on the money. There are times when I am the 80 and she is the 20.
Yeah.
But there are some days I don't even feel like being 5.
Come on.
You know, I mean, really. I mean, Sundays after
You
worship,
got to carry me all the way.
in that moment. I don't feel like it. You know, and she's right. When we first started, that was one of the issues. You talk to them people, you don't say nothing to me. Have you ever considered that I've talked so much to them people that I really don't want to say anything?
And Pastor, you know what the problem is, though? Is though when you get married, you feel like you're the only one. Right. And so because you feel like you're the only one and you don't have these conversations to know, because when we first got married, I was a mess, right? Because I felt like I know darn well that this is not what people go through in marriage, right? You know, but as I began to push people into conversations or people engage me in conversations, I'm like, oh, okay.
We had one of those.
Everybody. But nobody But nobody talks about it. And so when we experience those frustrations,
especially in the church.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
yes. They are perfect in all of their ways.
Honey,
look at Janae. Look at Janae.
Perfect in all of their ways. And that's why I said I was pissed off, because like no one said anything. They were so busy trying to hide and make things look 100%, and they really weren't. And so you don't get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
And so in the beginning, I struggled because I'm like, oh man, like I'm feeling a kind of way. You know, I got this woman in my life. And listen, I was a bachelor. I had everything. Like I had 2-3 cars. I had a house. And then I married this woman and she moves into my house. So I'm feeling like, oh, she's taking over my stuff. Like, you know, I've been in this house for 14 years, bought this house right out of college. And so, you know, I was experiencing all these different types of emotions, but I didn't know anybody else who had gone through it. But once I found out that this was normal, because what was happening is I was feeling abnormal.
Right.
And it made me uneasy. It made me feel strange. But once I found out that it was normal, then I begin to say, oh, okay, Tevis, all right, you can grow through this. You can get through this because you're not the only one who's experiencing this.
And I think sort of, if I could pull on Dr. Janae now, I think this is one of the reasons why the mental health piece is so important. because not only as it relates to the church, but even now as we're talking about marriage and relationships, sometimes if we don't know how to be honest with ourselves and then be honest enough with our mates to say, look, you know, this looks pretty, but it's not as pretty as it looks. And still be able to understand, you know, in the midst of how bad it looks behind the scenes, to have that mate to say, you know what, I'm here with you. We're going to walk this through together. Your baggage is now our baggage. Your problems are now our struggles and that sort of thing. You know, I think that is the big piece, but you're right, because they didn't tell us that, you know, when go ahead, Doc.
I was saying they didn't encourage us to do our own work. And so like, yeah, you can come with the baggage, but baby, you got to work through some of that now. The same baggage you had year 1, I don't need to see it year 5. Like, I need to see some progress on it, okay? So
Come on.
Whatever that looks like for you, you need to go to therapy, you need to go get a mentor, you need to surround us with we were really blessed because we were surrounded by couples. We were surrounded by cool people who were honest with us. And so we had a place to kind of have some support, but you got to work through that stuff. You got to work through.
I think too that we underestimate the power of choice. I choose to be with him. He chooses to be with me. Not just at the altar on your big wedding day. It's every day I have to say I do over again. Every day he has to say I do over again. Even when you're going through, I still have to choose to say I do.
And you know what the problem is? Because it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, and then I'm gonna be quiet, right? We talked about how we used to hide things, right? Hide things. You gotta learn how to be vulnerable and be okay in your vulnerability. Right. And so and until we get to the place where we are okay with not hiding, coming out of hiding, we won't be vulnerable. And so in a marriage, I've learned that you've got to be vulnerable, right? And sometimes you may feel that somebody's taking advantage of your vulnerability, and that's not the case. It's just that in this space, you have to be more vulnerable than what you're used to.
And you got to let that wall down.
But the thing is, Doc Q, it goes back to what I talked about this morning in church with, you know, the reason Jesus had to get
the Holy Spirit.
The reason Jesus had to get tempted was because of the fact is the last example of someone fighting getting tempted by the devil, we screwed it up. Adam screwed it up. So that was the mental reference that we had. So Jesus came and said it's written. It is written. It is written.
Don't get me started talking about Adam, because I always wonder what would have happened if Adam just said, you know what, God, you got me. But instead, he said that wife you gave me.
See, now here's the thing. Here's the thing with that story. Here's the thing with that story. When you look at it, when Satan came into the garden,
he went to her.
The Bible says that Adam was right there with her the whole time he was having that conversation with Eve.
But he ain't say nothing.
That's my question. My question has always been, if Adam was right there, why didn't Adam speak up? It was his responsibility to cover Eve in the first place. And then on top of that, God didn't tell Eve.
You know,
because at the time he gave direction, Eve was not even created. So basically, all he operated on, or what Eve gave him, was secondhanded information.
And right here we can see the struggle, communication problem. There's an uncovering, these struggles that we as couples can still struggle with today.
Absolutely.
You know, hit it on the nail when you mentioned mental health. You know, as young Black people can raise, they don't teach us about mental health.
I was about to say, you saying we young.
They don't teach us about mental health.
You young, you know.
And how to take that time, that break, that you need that. You need that mental health break. Absolutely. You know, one of the things that we do together, we go a lot. And actually, I hear y'all got children and stuff, but we way done with that. We've been
Hallelujah. Glory to God.
Glory.
Kevin, I jump up and shout, but I'm locked in. I can't even shout right now.
But that mental health is something that's really, really important. You know, we work our bodies. We pay attention to our blood pressure, our diabetes, but a lot of times we don't pay attention to our mind and our mental health.
That's good.
And a lot of times we be fighting the inner stuff in us the most. That's causing the diabetes to get out of control, the blood pressure, the weight gain, everything. It's the inner you. And if you take a mental health break sometime and just say, you know what?
Listen, I want to talk to all the preachers. Go on vacation. Even if do a staycation. You know, I've started this thing recently. We call it summer break at Greater. Once a month, we ain't having church.
All right.
Just once every because I don't need to see you every week. Like I just
All right, Pastor.
and vice versa, to give them an opportunity, because if not, you have burnout, right? And so and just in the summer, like one Sunday, let them have some family time. There's nothing, and I'm not saying if that's everybody ministry, everybody can't do that. But certainly I found it to be helpful because God really showed me, like, if not, you gonna kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. So it's okay to say, I need this. And I think we have a problem articulating, even in marriage, when we need something. We'd rather
That's good.
We would rather go into ourselves and expect our partner to just figure out what's wrong with us.
Right.
You know, and he's not psychic, and neither am I. I have discernment. I have some puppet, but it's nothing psychic about us, right? So you got to be able to speak what you need.
Absolutely. And not feel bad about doing it. Yeah. You got to get to a place. Here's my thing. She's my safety net. Okay. If I can't trust her, you know, I can't, I mean, really in the real sense, I mean, I can't trust anybody else. I mean, because she's going to see some things I don't see. She's going to catch some stuff I don't catch. And she's definitely going to hear some stuff that I purposely am not supposed to hear. So, you know, when I hear you, Tevin, saying we got to be vulnerable, if I can't be vulnerable with her, how can I do it with anybody else? I gotta have that. I got a question coming here. Quick question or added statement. With the plight state within our current culture as it deals with marriage, do you guys recommend Christian or secular marriage counseling before couples say I do? Let me be the first to jump on that one. I say yes to both. Both Christian and secular. Both.
And I will speak from experience as being married and being a professional counselor. We should have also done professional counseling before we got married. We went through the church counseling program, and I'll never forget, they gave us we had to take these assessments, and they were great, right? They were great. We had to take these assessments, and our scores came back, and they were like, oh, you and Tevin are perfect for each other. I was like, child, now I know something wrong with that assessment. Me and Tevin have been like, y'all are just perfectly matched. And I say that to say, like, I think some of the things that we dealt with year 2, 3, 4, if we had gone into more intense counseling before, we wouldn't have had the same type of struggles. And so I am a proponent of both. They can walk hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask you, Janae, from a professional standpoint, what does that marriage counseling piece look like, you know, in the professional realm? What does that look like?
So there are certain assessments that you'll take, depending on who the counselor is, to kind of ask you about maybe your past, your expectations, your history. Then the counselor can come together and talk about what are your goals, what do you want your marriage to look like. But you really get to dig into more of some of that trauma, some of that lint in the pocket that we don't often talk about out loud, that a counselor would be able to see on the forefront. And so, like, for example, I can give you an example from us. I had not anticipated how holidays would be a struggle for us. So Travis's mom passed. And he's like he said, he's not an emotional person. But around the holidays, he starts acting different. I was very demanding. I have a certain way we do holidays. My family
we go with the family.
We all together. Like, you gotta come. And it wasn't until like year 3 I was like, oh, he's probably grieving. Like, he's probably like Mother's Day ain't exciting for him like it is for you, Janae. Yep. And so if we had some more intense counseling beforehand, I think I would have seen some of that stuff on the front end and been a little bit more sensitive to it. And he probably would have been able to say, because it ain't fair for you just to be walking around moping, not saying nothing, and just say like, hey, today just ain't a good day for me.
Well, I wasn't saying anything. I was just saying to myself.
Right. and that was a part of coping though for you though. That's how you dealt with it.
So that I wouldn't lash out, so that I wouldn't say things that are inappropriate. You know,
right.
I'm known for just saying stuff off the top of my head, right? Like I would just say, whatever comes up. Look, whatever comes up, comes out.
Yeah, I see
it is what it is.
I think we all are witnesses to that.
You know? And so
you're not alone.
And she's right. Like, holidays aren't good for me. So, what I will do is I will retreat. I will go and get by myself. I will go and do my own thing. I don't bother anybody. And so, and she was that family. Let's go. Let's get it. And she did learn, like, this is me in the holiday. And, I just need my space right now, just to think, just to process, just to get through what I'm feeling. And then I'll be back.
And then you'll be to my mama's house. So, and then but for the person who asked the question, it's not too late. Even if you didn't get it on the front end, it's not too late to ever go to counseling. And nothing has to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be on the brink of divorce to go to counseling. So
please don't wait till then.
Please don't wait. Then it's almost, I don't want to say too late, but it's harder. It's harder to work.
Well, we see, really in the real sense, I think one of the first things we need to do is dispel with Christians that there's nothing wrong with you sitting down and getting counseling.
Yeah.
And talking to a therapist.
You better go pray. What you talking about?
Absolutely. I take nothing.
Everything.
But you know what, Tevz, you gave me an illustration the last time we talked about this, and it makes a lot of sense. Okay. If my leg is broke, I need to do more than just pray about a broke leg.
You better.
I need to get somebody to go take a look at that thing, help me reset it, help me go through the process of rehabilitation so I can at least get up and start walking again.
Yeah.
I think with a whole lot of relationships, and I'm going to be honest, we pastors have fallen short because we deal with a whole lot of spiritual stuff, but we are too spiritual sometimes that we don't tell folk, no, this is beyond my scope. This is beyond my realm. You need to go talk to somebody else.
Somebody got mad at me because I did that.
Come on.
So I just going through my Facebook memories, and I told somebody she needed to go get some counseling because it was outside of my realm of expertise.
I have done that too.
And somebody came to me and said, "So you want to?" I ain't saying don't pray, but you also need to go do something else. Just like with peroxide of alcohol go with a Band-Aid. Prayer go with some counseling every night. You need to but we've been told so often. My grandmama used to tell us all the time, grease your knees up and walk out of here like everything fine. Even though you may be hungry, don't go nowhere and tell nobody we ain't ate.
Right.
Well, you ain't gonna ever get full if you don't tell nobody you ain't got nothing to eat.
That's true. That's right.
And that goes, but then what happens is that's some of that trauma we were talking about. Because we are I know
it's taught behavior.
Yeah.
It's not because I think we're talking about trauma, which is fine, but there's also some taught behavior to that because now you have this hide everything mentality that you don't even know. Like some stuff you'll hide between each other.
Right.
You got to present yourself a certain way to your husband or to your wife. You understand what I'm saying? When we're talking about vulnerability, as a man, he's taught, I got to be the man. You understand what I'm saying? I can't cry. I can't appear weak. And we've learned, it's not even necessarily trauma all the time, too. It's some learned behaviors that we need to unlearn.
But then they come back. But then they come back and be like, I don't know about this new you. This ain't the new you. This the one you. This the old me you ain't never met.
Never met.
This is the old me you never met.
The new version.
100% person again. That authentic yourself. That's right.
Yeah, that's the one I hid up under that carpet. You know what I mean? It's just. But I'm surprised. I tell people all the time, counseling is good. I actually see one. I tell people all the time because we got married during COVID.
Right.
And we got stuck with some stuff I didn't even know I still had. You know, we got this, I'm so used to moving. Yeah. If I'm not at church, I'm at work. I really didn't do much of nothing. I spent my 30s at my job. You know, that's exactly where it was. I was always busy. And then COVID said, no, go sit in the house for a couple of years. And literally, she saw so much of, to the point she called my late pastor, like, I need you to pray for him. Because I lost 20 people in 20 months.
Wow.
Not to mention the leadership stuff I was dealing with. I lost, and these were just either people that I was mentoring, my mentors, and family members, including a sister. Right. And so it's like she got bombarded with a whole lot of me that I didn't even know was there. You know, I thank God that people think I'd be lying. I thank God every day. I told somebody the other day that she is literally, the fact she's still here is the evidence that God still got favor on me, because I'm surprised she ain't get out of here.
Praying for you, woman of God.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What you say, Mika? What you say?
I mean, even if I had left, he'd been behind me, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's right. You married to Bob the Stalker. That's right. That's right.
He stuck with me.
Listen, y'all. I mean, we've been at this conversation piece for an hour, and I God, this is so rich. This is so rich. So I got to do two things. Number one, to those of you who are watching tonight, if y'all really want a part 2 of this, would y'all drop that in the comments real quick? Drop it in the comments, because I just need confirmation of what I know I'm gonna do anyway, and that is bring a part 2 to this thing, because we don't want to impede on their time. I mean, really, it is a sacrifice and labor of love that they're joining us on tonight. So while I'm waiting, good Lord, look at them. They already popping it in. Part two. Look at them already. I got to absolutely. I mean, already. I mean, look at this, y'all. Look at this. Look at this. Lord, Mr. Lorenzo got so excited he had to go in there twice. You know, I mean, really in a real sense. Letitia Harris. I mean, everybody's wanting a part 2. Let me close right here, and this is for the ladies. This is a question for the ladies. The question I have for you, for the ladies, is this: if you could give any advice to the opposite sex, what would it be?
Yeah.
Gonna start passing the wit.
Okay.
What you gonna say?
I'm gonna wrap it up right here. This is gonna be our stopping point.
The opposite sex. In the confines of marriage, or just in general.
That's a great
or
question.
How to deal with a lady, like.
Yeah, within the confines of marriage, or let me simplify it. What advice would you give to a single brother?
Okay.
As it relates to a single sister in building a relationship?
Especially today, the thing that I see missing a lot is respect. My advice is respect who she is. Wait, let me start over. Respect who she was, respect who she is, and be ready to respect who she'll become.
That's good.
Right? Because you can't just look at her today and not figure out what tomorrow gonna look like too, or at least attempt to look at tomorrow. Right? And be able to respect wherever she is at. Right? Never make her feel less than. Because we still want the covering that we didn't get in the garden. We want
that's gonna preach too.
That's good.
We want that covering. We want that respect, right? And while we loving you, because it does command us to love you and wives to respect your husbands, I get that. But at the same time, I would like a little RESPCT.
I don't know what it means to me.
That goes a long way. And I'm a little old-fashioned too, so that respect also shows up in the opening of car doors, and it shows up in the, she cold, give her your jacket. Come on, guys. Just bring that back.
What about the hood girls?
Anyway,
Make sure you got a hoodie for. That's all.
You know they hood. So there's some hood girls out here like, y'all need you open up my door. Got my own door. You know, I pay my own.
Because they've never seen that before.
I'm about to say, but in all honesty,
they've never seen it.
That is a great point, though, because you have some that will try to tell you. In some cases, it's not necessarily hood. They're just so independent.
Rigid.
That they don't want to release that. That's actually good. That's a good point. That's absolutely a good point.
But they've never seen anybody open a door for anybody.
It's a lot of stuff that I have never seen that he brought to the table that I've now accustomed to.
Right.
Right. But
because I'm not touching no trash.
If you know it's right,
Yeah.
Do what's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say my advice would be, I know a lot of men are naturally providers, and y'all get a lot of energy on providing and going after your goals, and you can get very hyper focused on that. And I would say, even after you are going after all those things, don't forget to pay attention to your boo. Like, don't forget to also, like, the little things matter. And I know that you're super focused on what the next thing is or the next goal, but just don't forget to check in. Don't forget to plan a date night. And so that would be my advice.
All right. Mika, what you got?
I think just to be authentic in the process. I mean, it's a process, like everything, like building the relationship, getting to marriage, it's the process. So I think if a person is really authentic, really their self, you know what I mean, they're helping to build a healthy foundation. So that's all I can say, because you don't want to put too much pressure on it, but you know what I mean, but you want to be present, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I would say in the beginning, as you're beginning the date, just understand, like you guys have said, that you are two different people. You're not going to agree on everything. You're not going to, you might not even want the same things in the beginning.
Right.
And you might have a different goal from that person, but that's when you come together and you try to understand what each other's goals are, so you can build on that. So that goes back to what all you ladies were saying. It's the foundation. It's how you start. You gotta, like Pastor DeWitt said, make sure that you open the door. I mean, my father might not have opened the door for me, but you're showing me something new. And then not only that, I was single when I met him. So it was like, okay, I'm putting my own trash out. I'm cutting my own grass. I don't need you to do nothing. So when he came, it was like, okay, I don't need him. But then he had to show me, you do need me. So it's like in the beginning, you just got to know that you got two different goals and you got two different people coming together. And you got to just understand one another.
All right, brothers, it's our time. Same question. Let's flip it.
Well, I think the thing is even if going back, piggybacking off what Sister Worthy just said, it's not necessarily that we don't think you can do it. We don't think you have the ability to do it, but we also need to be needed. We have a need to be needed. And in order for it to work and for us to be able to give what you want, we have to be willing to be needed. That's number one. And number two, you should be expecting, Sister DeWitt, you should be able to expect us to continue what we started.
Yeah. What you got to do with it? Talk to me.
Well, the opposite sex, when we talking to a young lady, I would tell a young lady, first of all, always put God first. If you keep God first, you won't go wrong. And remember that. Let
the prophet speak.
No matter what the struggle is, we are winning. Even in struggle, we win. Keep
winning.
We winning. I'm the one that like to point out the positive, and I'm always be positive. I'm always gonna look to the positive side. I mean, if you want to be married, it's a wonderful thing to want to be married. I mean, a lot of people don't know it until they get in it. Sometimes they look at other people and what they're doing, and they think, well, I want to do that too. And it's okay to glean and want to have what somebody else have. But I also be ready to put the work in.
Oh, yeah.
Be ready to put the work in. Because it's easy when somebody else is is shoveling and doing these things. But if you want to do it, you just put the work in. If you put the work in, you'll be successful. You will win. Make a decision, stick to a decision, know when to pivot in life, and you'll win.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. You know, I got an album out called Keep Winning, right? Okay, I'll just say.
I knew that plug was coming. I knew it was coming.
Is it available on iTunes?
It's anywhere you find music. Anywhere you find, listen to it by music. August 5th is my Keep Winning Live 2.0 concert. You can find
that was coming too.
On the Keep Winning Live 2.0. You got to be there. Vincent Bohannon's going to be there. Kim Person's going to be there. Lisa Barnes is going to be there. And of course, me and Favor are going to be there. And we're going to be killing it. So, like, you got to come to the concert. Okay.
I'm upset with you and Stephanie both about scheduling these things. And no, that's my birthday weekend. So you know I'm not going to even be in town.
Listen, you can start off Friday night with us, and then y'all just go to the hotel from there.
I won't be in town. That's the thing. Oh. I'm gonna be winning already.
I know that's right.
Come on back, Fred. Come on back.
Winning.
I'm gonna be winning.
Real winning.
Oh my God.
Listen, go and see your donation.
It's about to go there.
You just donate, and then y'all go ahead on. Where y'all going?
I don't even. Oh, where are we going? I'm going to Emerald Isle.
Okay. Nice. But what I would say is, to the opposite sex is, be a lady. You know, as a man, like I want you to be a lady. I want you to look good going out every single day. I want you to, you know, when we're about to get in bed, don't come to bed with no bonnet on.
Like, talk to me, sir.
Don't like, you know, I'm about looks, right? When I look at something, you know, I want you to be a lady. And I would also say
you can have a whole nother video on this.
Listen,
I got a lot to say about this.
That sounds like part 3. That sounds like a part 3.
Yeah, go to write that down. We can talk about that now, you know. But like I know about you other men, but I want other females to know that we want you to be a lady, right?
That's right.
The second thing is if you're seriously dating someone, I think that you need to be that man's piece, especially if you have a working man.
Yeah.
If you have a working man, someone whom you see the vision, whom you see who's going after his dreams and his goals. You know, when he comes home, he don't need to hear your mouth. You know, he don't need to hear, you know, I understand you were feeling and going through something, but at that moment, I think you just need to say, baby, I see you working. I see you going after your dreams and goals. How can I be of support to that? What can I do?
Help me.
Yeah, what can I do to support you? You know, but like I think that I've seen just from conversations with other men, like how some women are insecure, right? And so them jumping on his back when the world is probably already beat, especially as a black man, the world has already beat us up, right? And we got to perform for the world every single day. So when we come home, we want peace. You know, is that a testimony for all the men in the room?
Well, I'm ready to get mine back. I'm ready to get my advice back to the
too late. You too late.
You had 3 points, and I need to go there. Schedule me for part 2.
That's part 2. That's part 2.
But you know what? I'm being honest though. Like, you know, but I've had conversations with a lot of people, and I hear about a lot of marriages. You know, a lot of people confide in me, and so being peace. Also, stay in your lane. You know. Yeah, stay in your lane, and yeah, that's what I would say. Those are some of the things I would say. I would recommend.
When to shut up.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Go ahead.
Know when to shut up. Shut it up.
Let me.
Alicia, you gonna help her?
Let me shut this down before I have to go with Harris. Let me shut this down.
That's the word. Come on over there.
I hear some stuff. I'm telling
What she said?
You know,
support the woman as well. I knew that was coming.
Ladies need to learn how to be ladies.
Let me-
He's right.
I think the advice that I would give a young lady is understanding this. Chivalry is a two-way street.
It is.
You gotta be willing to give it just as much as you're willing to receive it.
Yeah.
You know, if that brother's kind enough for you to keep gas in your car and make sure that the doors are open, you know, make sure that you reciprocate that. You know, because sometimes, believe it or not, brothers will not tell you, even though they will show you in their actions and emotions, that we want to feel like we are just as important to you as we portray that we are in our showing. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be flowers. You know, give me a good night. You know, let me come home to think. Hush.
I mean, we talk about this.
Oh my God, this one.
That's part two. That's part two, y'all.
Right.
Part two. But I think really, you know, for young ladies, and I gotta say this, particularly to some young ladies who are so desperate to get married, they want to settle for anything. Stop settling.
Yes.
You know, if you are a dreamer, you're gonna need somebody who understands what dreaming looks like.
Yes.
You know, you don't need to just settle just to have a pair of pants in the house. You don't need to do that. You know, believe it or not, a man who is vision oriented and goal driven wants a lady in his life who is willing to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because she will know how to push you. And at the same time will know how to cover you and restrain you sometimes. So you've got to be able to have that. You know, I think really in a real sense, I think this is where the word of God teaches us that we do unto others as we would want done to you. I think that applies even to a marriage, to a relationship. Treat me like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you gonna fix my plate, you know, don't give me that paper plate.
They ain't happy.
You know, bring me the glass plate.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, chivalry is a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street. You know, if I'm gonna be kind enough to drive you somewhere, you know, at least make sure I'm comfortable. You need something to drink. You need this. Okay, let's handle that now.
Don't go to sleep.
What? You know what? Now, to each his own, because truth be told,
He want me to go to
I
sleep.
want her to go to sleep.
$400 ticket.
I want her to go to sleep. Yeah. So we can get there and she wake up. Oh, you got us here so quick. Yes, I sure did.
with the blue lights behind us.
Right.
But I really say this, and the last thing I want to say to young ladies, especially young ladies, please hear my heart. And this really equates to young men too. Some business, social media does not need to
know.
That's part 4.
You know, I mean, listen, I know you proud of your body, and I'm proud that you got body goals. I know you look good, but there are some pieces the world does not need to see.
Wait a minute, Pastor, because now I'm about to start exercising, and when I get buff, I'm telling you, this chest is coming out. I'm gonna tell you right now.
You know what? I see already. Go get the keys. We don't have to go to the Harrisons tonight. Go get the keys.
Y'all tell you right now. Listen.
Pray for me.
Now, Janae, that's your substitute teacher. Now, that's all I'm saying.
You know what? We ain't gonna be on part 2. We're gonna let y'all know.
Yeah. No, we listen. We coming.
No.
Yo, we got to come back. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. I do appreciate you guys so much. As always, you know, as we say, each one of you has a special place in our hearts. You know, we value each of you in a very special way. And we are certainly thankful that God has strategically and creatively placed you in our lives in the time and in the ways that he's done. And I'm grateful that you guys have been able to come with us and connect with us. Oh, they still going off about that part 2. Bless their hearts, Lord Jesus. All right, y'all. So look, there's going to be a part 2. There's going to be a couples edition 2.0. I just don't know when. It's going to be soon, because in about 5 days, we out of here. And I definitely got to get our ladies back from Africa because they're already talking about a ladies edition, bringing the ladies in to talk about it. So I'm definitely getting them back. The Lord's will this weekend, I believe Saturday, I think it is. They will be back in the States. So we're looking forward to having them come and just talk with us. And then, of course, Dr. Janae will be back along with about 3 other therapists. And we're going to talk about this thing from a professional standpoint. So, really in a real sense, I see this thing going somewhere. I really do. I see it going somewhere. And ultimately, yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you to you and to Lady Felicia. Like I just want to say thank y'all for being you. For hosting these spaces. And you don't know how much just your walk, the way you carry yourself, both in a vulnerable way, but in a team way, encourages so many of us. And so, and that you give of yourself to have these spaces and to share with so many of us. I just really want to say thank you.
And I also like the fact that you guys are so authentic. Right. And you want to be with people. You want to really do life with people. And that's what really matters. People don't care what you say, but they want to see you walking, right? And I'm telling you, we see you walking.
So we
right?
appreciate you.
We appreciate it, man.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Well, I'll say this, and I really love you guys so much. In my mind, ministry is not the pulpit. It's what I do when I come out of the pulpit that matters. And sadly, and I know, Pastor Shannon will understand exactly where I'm coming from. We've got enough pulpit performances as they are. We need some people are really wanting to see authenticity in this day and time. And so let me show you flaws, failures, and all. So you can see, that God can take us at our worst and still use us for his
Dr. Worthy, that goes back to what I told you before, said a few weeks ago. God ain't doing a new thing. He's trying to get us to do the old thing and the original thing he was trying to set up in the first place.
He wanted.
And that's exactly what my pastor used to always say. I used to get mad because he wasn't having classes with us like most of these other pastors. He said Jesus did more walking than he did talking. Right. Make sure you're doing more watching than you are listening.
Right.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm getting off this thing because y'all gonna get me in trouble.
Well, from what I hear, you were in trouble 3 minutes in. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my God.
Substitute teacher. Listen, y'all, thank you guys so much across God. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Be on the lookout on social media. We will announce the date of the Couples Edition 2.0. We will announce it. We're going to set it up. We're going to make it happen. And of course, for those of you who have joined us since we began, if you've missed the earlier pieces, don't worry about it. It's being rebroadcast on Thursday night at 8:00, right back in the same feed that you're on tonight. So whatever you missed in the earlier moments, you got a second chance to watch it. And then after we go off, it will actually show up on the Dear Young Preacher YouTube page. So go and subscribe to the Dear Young Preacher mentoring group on YouTube, and you'll be able to catch that, our Monday motivations, as well as our podcast recordings for the Dear Young Preacher mentoring talk as well. Guys, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much. Listen, everybody, have a great night. Be blessed, and know as always, y'all, we love you. Good night, everybody.
Keep